Mm.
Another fight I know that you probably wanted to talk a little bit about is Tevin Farmer and Zepeda, the rematch, since we're talking about rematches, right?
Right.
What do you think about that?
Man, I think Tevin finna be two times. I
Yeah.
think he finna go take care of this business. I seen him training this camp, and he's gonna be in way better shape than he was in the first fight. And everyone's seen how great he did in the first fight. So just stay tuned for two times. I think Tevin finna go take care of that business for sure.
You know, Tevin, I think, is one of those guys that's so unappreciated in boxing, right?
Yeah.
Like he just fought Raymond Muay Thai and gave that dude
And
like a
fighting all the top guys. Tevin going in there fighting all the top guys. They just look past Tevin because of his record, which is I mean, it's understandable, because you got some L's, but he's still going in there fighting the best, so he definitely need his credit.
yeah,
He's
but
doing what a lot of other top fighters ain't doing. Fight after fight, we've been seeing Tevin try to go after the best.
yeah, when I was in Vegas, I saw him fight Raymond Muay Thai, and that was a really competitive
That was
fight.
a close fight. Yeah, he was giving them trouble. That was a close fight.
And then right after that, it was like William Zepeda. And I know the narrative is like, I might have fed a little bit into it too, but it was like, oh damn, they gonna get Tevin after a tough fight. Like, he gonna fight Raymond Muay Thai and now he's fighting Zepeda. But when he drops Zepeda in that fourth round, like
Hey, even then, before I even seen Tevin training or really,
Mhm.
looking into it, I knew he was gonna give him some trouble. He's gonna give Zepeda some trouble. But now that I really got to watch this training camp with my own eyes, like it really wouldn't shock me at all if Tevin goes in there and beats him easy.
Yeah. I mean, first, I mean, I want to get more in depth in that without revealing too much, but I know that they were originally, in my opinion, seemed like they were trying to set up what some people might felt like was, all right, if he wants to fight Shakur, he has to get past Tevin Farmer. So kind of like a step up, but kind of like not maybe like how progression was like, all right, we're just gonna
I
take.
mean, you can't really even say that because Zepeda he didn't want to fight Shakur right away. I'm not gonna say him specifically, but it just seemed like they didn't want to fight. He was Shakur's number one mandatory, and I mean they just they kept taking other fights and
Correct.
they never fought Shakur. So I mean, for Shakur, you got to feel for Shakur on that because he want to fight the best fighters, and it's nothing he could do about it if nobody wants to fight him.
Correct. And it kind of seemed like they were trying to take approach of like the Tevin Farmer because like you mentioned, he had like six losses in the draw at that point
Right.
in
So
time.
they were just looking at Tevin like we're gonna walk right past him and worry about the next person, and then they ran into some trouble.
You don't think they were kind of like he's slick like Shakur, but in their mind probably thought this is not Shakur in their mind and got a rude awakening
Nah,
that night.
look, in my opinion, like as a grown man, how many fights does Zepeda got? I know he's at least 20 fights in, right?
Before that Tevin fight, he was 31 and 0 in these
See,
fights.
30 fights in, it shouldn't even be no more. Oh, let's to take a step up fight or nothing. It should be straight to the champion. Like you're the
Hmm.
number one contender. Go right after Shakur. And I don't think that was like a good idea to try to fight Tevin and then after we beat Tevin, then let's go fight Shakur. Why not go right after the champion when you got the opportunity to?
Well, do you think that if he did fight Shakur that he would have beaten him if it wasn't?
Nah, I think Shakur he'll give Zepeda some trouble.
So okay, so hear me out. So in this case, if he gets past Tevin, right, it gives him kind of maybe the assets and tools that he would need to beat like a Shakur, right? Because Tevin's a former world champion, very slick, very defensive, definitely at the end of like kind of his opportunity becoming two-time, like you mentioned. Very hard-working guy, like not taking away anything, but it's definitely a guy who. I think Shakur is in his prime and Tevin is a proven guy. So would you feel that that's kind of, I guess what I'm saying. Like, do you think if they can't get past Tevin that they can get to Shakur? Or do you really feel like this is like a stylistic, it doesn't really matter if you like this is
Yeah, I don't, I
not
don't, I don't think this like to me. It doesn't matter. Like, you're already 30 fights in. You're a grown man.
Mhm.
It don't matter how much he could go fight 10 Tevin Farmers and go fight Shakur and still lose. So it
Mhm.
don't matter. Like, why not just take the fight? That's all I'm saying is when you're the number one mandatory, just go after the number one guy.
And then I asked this out of the defense of Tevin, right? I've been
Right.
covering Tevin for a very long time. I think he's extremely underrated. He didn't get the tank fight when Tank was like mentioned, hey, when you get a belt, he took all these tough fights. Personally, I didn't think he needed to take the Jojo Diaz fight at the time, but he's such a warrior, he took it.
Hmm.
And even at this point in his career, Raymore ties Zepeda, so there's people that thought he won both of those fights, in that case. And so, with Tevin, you mentioned that you've seen him training really, really hard. Do you think that if you mentioned he gets the win, makes it very easy, that him and Shakur would be the next fight then?
Definitely, definitely. Give him his credit. He goes in there and he beats Zepeda. Why not? Zepeda was the number one guy, and he didn't want to fight Shakur right away. So let Tevin go do it. And none of the fans should talk down on that fight. If Tevin goes in there and beats Zepeda, and then he tries to fight Shakur, and Shakur accepts the fight, I don't want to. I already know it's gonna happen anyways. But I'm saying it's gonna be bad because I don't want to see everyone like, oh, Shakur goes and fights a guy with all these losses, this and that. But he just beat the number one mandatory. So if he goes in there and beats Zepeda, he definitely deserves a fight with Shakur. And I know Shakur is gonna take the fight. Shakur ain't turning it down, so it'll be a great fight.
Yeah, and I think it would be great. I would think it would be awesome because Tevin's worked hard for a big fight, and I think even style wise, right? And I'm with you. I think Tevin's underrated. I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of like, man, he about to fight Zepeda. Like I know this can go either or because of his style,
Mm-hmm.
but when he dropped him in the fourth, I was like, holy shit! So, um. Not looking past Zepeda, but I do want to get your breakdown on Tevin Farmer and Shakur because that's a very high likely possibility that because it's for the interim WBC, of
Mm-hmm.
course having a hard time getting opponents. That's two slick, American fighters. How does that look in a fight when you've seen one train hard and you spar the other? How does
Yeah.
Shakur and Tevin look?
I think that's gonna be like a match made in heaven type of fight. Like it's gonna be two great boxers in there with each other, and we really get to see who's really the best boxer out of them two. It's gonna be like skills on display. Like school gonna be in session. You can learn a lot. When them two get in there, you're gonna be able to learn a lot from that fight. So when they fight, in my opinion, I don't have no winner in that fight, but I definitely think it's gonna be a great fight.
I know sometimes people feel like when you get two slick, black American fighters, it's going to be boring, right? We
Nah,
just
it's
recently
gonna
just
be a
saw it.
great fight.
Well, I was
Nah,
about to say, we recently just saw Tank and Lamont, right?
right.
Would you think it could have the opportunity to be like a Tank and Lamont where,
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. They Lamont has a different style than because people look at Tank like a fighter who just goes in there reckless. Tank is a real boxer. Like his skills is slept on. So Tank he boxes and boxes and takes his time to set certain things up. But I think that's kind of a similar fight that we would see. Even though Lamont has a different style, Tevin he lets his hands go. And
Mhm.
Shakur, he's trying to shut the fans up, so he's letting his hands go now too a lot. So I think we'll be in for a great fight.
Well, I know Tevin will definitely be up to fight Shakur. I know Shakur would be 100% up to fight Tevin.
Yeah, and
And
that's like a fight we could see happening this year.
facts. And and we've heard many times about Zepeda not fighting Shakur. So like, don't get me wrong, the style of Zepeda versus Shakur would be great to watch.
Hmm.
But if Zepeda does beat Tevin and doesn't fight Shakur, let's just get in a time machine, go back. I don't know, put some rocks in Zepeda's shoe before he gets in the race, so we can get Tevin and Shakur because we know they're gonna fight each other. So Zepeda definitely needs to fight Shakur after the Tevin Farmer fight if he gets to win.
Right. Yeah. 100%.